What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Now, I have to talk about this. It's only so much I could take, and I'm gonna lay it all out there. I feel like the Punisher of boxing. I'm the vigilante, and I'm here to restore and bring balance back to the sport of boxing. Some of you guys don't respect it. Some of you guys don't want to hear my side, my vantage point. But oh well, don't come to my channel. I don't give a fuck. So first, I want to start off talking about Keith Thurman, and there's something that has changed. I followed boxing for a while, and I've always liked boxing, and something amongst the fans has changed to the point where we get concerned with the wrong things. Mayweather says, "Oh, I'm gonna be fighting Maidana again, and I got a surprise for you. Stay tuned. I got a surprise for you." And everybody's asking me, like, "Oh, what's Mayweather's surprise in April?" I don't fucking know. I don't know Mayweather. I don't know what his surprise is. I don't have any idea. And it's these type of things that some of the fans get concerned with, and I'm guilty of it too. But you got a stacked division in the welterweight division. You have Keith Thurman, Robert Guerrero, Pacquiao, Floyd, just a ton of different talent in that division. And Keith Thurman, by far, to me, is getting the shortest end of the stick. They're talking about making an Adrian Broner versus Josecito Lopez fight. Now, Josecito has been on record saying he's not going back down to 140, and also his trainer, Henry Ramirez. So I don't know if Broner's thinking about making that trip back up to welterweight, but this is a fight that they're talking about. And you got a guy like Keith Thurman, who I have no idea what it is about Keith Thurman that is not making Golden Boy really push this dude. And some people are like, "Oh, he hasn't beat nobody." That's bullshit, man. That's bullshit for the simple fact of you have to start somewhere. If Pacquiao didn't have Barrera fights or the Eric Morales fights, would he be the superstar he was? Probably not. You know what I'm saying? Those are the fights that put him on the map. You look at Floyd, Gennaro Hernandez. These are gateway fights that opened up the pathway for different fighters' journeys, or even the Diego Corrales. Mayweather showed what he can do. He gained a lot of fans that night by beating Diego Corrales in the fashion that he did do it. You could have the next breakout star in the welterweight division in Keith Thurman. For whatever reason, Golden Boy, Oscar, Al Heyman, they choose to leave that untapped. Now, I'm not saying nobody beats Keith Thurman, because I don't believe that. I think there's a ton of guys that could give him a run for his money. There's guys that possess the skill to beat him, and I've seen little flaws with him, but I still have to see them do it in order for me to be sold on it. I think Keith Thurman can trouble or give anyone a problem at the welterweight division. There's still, like I said, questions. Sometimes he backs straight up. I want to see his chin and his mental fortitude against someone who's elite, that's been there, like a Pacquiao, who brings that veteran experience. They know what to do in clutch situations. That's what I want to see. And for whatever reason, Keith Thurman is not getting his opportunity. He's not getting his Willy Wonka golden ticket. And it's mind-blowing. He's a pretty clean-cut dude. He speaks English, so it's not like there's a language barrier amongst the fans and he doesn't resonate with Americans. He speaks clearly. You know what he's saying. He has good interviews, the interviews that I've seen him in. What is there not to like? He has an entertaining style. He's a knockout artist, but he shows poise and he shows some boxing ability. He has an amateur background. Like, what is it about Keith Thurman that makes Golden Boy or Al Heyman not put him in the position to get some fucking shine? Like, it's really getting ridiculous. Sean Porter, Kell Brook, I'm looking forward to that fight. But Kell Brook has been pro for quite some time and has yet to face, and he's had opportunities, Devin Alexander, and he's had opportunities at a title and a bigger fight, and he didn't take it, or he pulled out, or whatever the situation is. Now he's getting his opportunity versus Sean Porter, and I'm not trying to shit on that fight because I really want to see it too. However, it's like, I'm just analyzing things. Broner possibly fighting Josito Lopez, maybe even at welterweight. You look at Mayweather Maidana Part 2, even though the fans aren't necessarily calling. I mean, some people, it's not a bad fight. He wants to clear the air, whatever. Pacquiao doesn't have an opponent, but I'm hearing Pacquiao Guerrero, Pacquiao Amir Khan, and all these different circles and all these different potential fights and stuff. And I don't understand why Keith Thurman is not in talks for these big fights. I don't want to see Keith Thurman fight the Julio Diaz's, the people who have been beaten and knocked out by Kendall Holtz and stuff like that. It gets to a point where you see a certain fighter like Gennady Golovkin, like a Kovalev, like a Keith Thurman, and it's like I want to see these dudes. It's clear they possess something, whether it's power or whatever they possess. There's something about them where if you're a D fighter or a C fighter, you're probably not going to get past them. You know what I'm saying? Straight the fuck up. And I want to see Keith Thurman tested to see, you know what I mean, see how he does. I've seen improvements and whatnot, but I want to see him against somebody who is worth a damn, somebody who's respected, someone who, if he were to beat them, that could put him on the fucking map. That's what I really want to see. And we're not getting it for some reason. And again, the fans, it's partly our fault because we accept things. We accept it and just let it ride and be like, you know what I mean? Golden Boy, Top Rank, all the promoters, they bullshit us at times. They could shit on a plate and say it's Tierra Masu, and some of y'all fans will eat that up. We have to have our own identity, our own thought process. We need to write hate mail like Golden Boy. You need to step it up. Give this man an opportunity. The public has to have that outcry for something to really get done. Just like other people who have been revolutionary. You know what I mean? They had to put their foot down and stand up for what they believed in. And we as boxing fans need to do that. Because any way you slice it, like even, okay, look at Brandon Rios. Brandon Rios, Diego Chavez. Good fight. I have no problem with that fight. But Keith Thurman had a tough competitive fight and end up stopping Diego Chavez. And Diego Chavez is getting the fight with the big name, Brandon Rios. Brandon Rios has a pretty big name, pretty good sized fan base. He's been on televised performances. He fucking fought Pacquiao. He has a pretty good name. You know what I mean? If you watch boxing, you don't have to be that into boxing, but you might know who a Brandon Rios is. But Diego Chavez is getting the Brandon Rios fight. Last time I checked, Keith Thurman is not signed to Golden Boy. He does business with Golden Boy, but he could fight Brandon Rios. It's not like he has immediate ties to Golden Boy and Golden Boy only. Yet Diego Chavez, the fighter he beat, is getting the shot at Brandon Rios at Las Vegas at the Cosmopolitan. So, you know what I mean, a big fight state. And I just don't understand it. I don't understand, when did boxing evolve to the point where the winner gets shitted on and gets less opportunities than the loser? Mauricio Herrera, and that's my dude. I've interviewed him and everything. I'm just being real. Mauricio Herrera got a shot at Danny Garcia when Kareem Mayfield beat him and was undefeated at the time. He just lost to Thomas Delorme his last fight. But Mauricio Herrera got the shot. And then Herrera went to Puerto Rico, and in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinion, he beat Danny Garcia, even though he was the quote-unquote step-up, tune-up fight after a long, tough schedule. And he beat Danny Garcia, got robbed from the decision, and he requested a rematch. He was with Golden Boy. Danny Garcia's with Golden Boy. The fight had good viewings, and Danny Garcia chooses to fight Rod Salka. Like, how does this, somebody help me make sense of this? Help me to understand that. How the fuck does Rod Salka come out of nowhere, out of fucking thin air, and he gets the Danny Garcia fight? What about a guy with a bigger name? And there's other people you can, that have a good name, a decent name, that are more known to the boxing public other than Rod Salka. And that's why I made this meme. Rod Salka, to me, is Kaiser Soze. Nobody, they might know the name, but they don't know what he looks like. Nobody knows who the fuck he is. Who is Kaiser Soze? Who is Rod Salka? That's why I made this fucking meme and posted it a couple days ago. And that's the problem with boxing. And as fans, we accept this. We just let it ride and be like, oh. So as fans, we deal with bullshit and then we see a great fight and we tend to forget about things. We're like, oh, okay, I forgot that this is actually happening. And I've never really seen this in other sports. I like sports in general, but other sports don't really get this. If the Miami Heat loses to the San Antonio Spurs, they don't go back to Miami and have a victory parade. You lost. What the fuck are you celebrating? You better get back in the gym, go back to summer camp and train the kids and, you know what I mean, get right and try to come back next year. Why are you having a victory parade? You ought to be slapped for that. But in boxing, that's what happens. The fighter who loses gets the shot. Brandon Rios got a shot at Pacquiao. Mike Alvarado didn't. You know what I'm saying? Mike Alvarado beat Brandon Rios in the last fight, but didn't get the shot. And I just don't understand. Like, you know what I mean? You got guys like Keith Thurman, and people are like, oh, he hasn't beat nobody. How can he beat anybody if he's not given and not afforded that opportunity? Like, how is he going to, like, what more? He's beating the level of competition that's in front of him as impressively as he possibly can. Like, he's not, like, going the distance and, like if you watch the Peter Quillen versus Lucas Konecki, that fight was, I mean, I think it went the distance, and this was a no-name cab driver that nobody really knew about. Keith Thurman's not doing that. He's getting him out of there, and for whatever reason, he's not getting the big opportunities. And again, I think we as fans, we accept this and we just let it ride. We're more concerned with what Mayweather's deciding next May than injustices in the sport that we love. So I just had to drop this video. Another thing is Rod Salka, Danny Garcia. The whole card is horrible, and it's seldom that the fight that comes on first is the fight that I want to see the most. I think the most meaningful fight is the Fletcher Danny Jacobs fight. You know what I'm saying, in terms of just overall super competitive, and you know what I'm saying. That's probably the most meaningful fight, and that's rare. Usually the main event or co-main event is that fight. It's the fight that the fans want to see. Rod Salka, Danny Garcia. Oscar De La Hoya is trying to convince the fans that this is a good fight. He's saying the underdog in America always has a chance. It's the underdog story. And I'm not buying it at all. And then, to make matters worse, he cites Lucas Matisse, Danny Garcia, stating Danny Garcia was the underdog. So he won that fight. This could be a good fight. The underdog always has a chance. Danny Garcia was a fucking champion. Casual fans would have been like, oh yeah, Lucas Matisse, he'll beat his ass. Or other people would have been like, it's 50-50. But Danny Garcia was not no massive underdog. Some people and a lot of people might have said Lucas Matisse was going to win, but he was still a champion. Then he also says Adrian Broner versus Marcos Maidana. This was Broner's second fight at welterweight, and he went from one extreme to the next. He went from a light puncher in Paulie Malignaggi to a massive puncher in Marcos Maidana. And a lot of people, including myself, thought Broner would beat Maidana. But it's not that shocking. And I never said it wouldn't be a good fight or a close fight. I said it was pretty close to a 50-50 fight. So I'm not buying Oscar De La Hoya. You can try all you want to convince me that Rod Salka is a good fight for Danny Garcia, but I'm not buying it. Make sure you hit the like button. Let me know what you guys think. As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.